Hey guys! I know I was going to do the Swedish Naughty Words part 2, and yet again I had to make something else. This one needed some of my time. This is about the terrorist attack in Stockholm. I will give you all the details that are known, as well as reactions to this attack from various political figures. So here's what we know. A truck, a Spendrup soda and beer truck, was stolen while delivering goods to a restaurant that is on a side street to Drottninggatan, where the attack took place. The Spendrup's driver told the police that a masked man jumped into the passenger seat. The driver tried to stop the masked man and also the truck, but was himself hit by the truck and got minor injuries. A few minutes before 3 p.m. on Friday afternoon, the truck was driven into a crowd of people on Drottninggatan. 4 people have been confirmed dead. The number of injured people are still fluctuating. It's somewhere between 14 and 18. 2 of the injured are confirmed to be children. By Saturday morning, 10 people were still being treated for their injuries, 4 with severe injuries. 1 of these 10 is one of the 2 children. The rest of the injured have been treated and released from care. 1 person has been arrested, suspected of a terror crime. The call to the police came at 2:53 p.m. The truck was driven about 550 meters at a very high speed, according to witnesses. Before it crashed into the perfume department of the Åhléns shopping center. The truck then started to burn. Just after the attack, there were reports of gunfire at the subway station at Fredhemsplan. These reports are not verified by the police and are thought to be false rumors. The police and security police, the agency that handles national threats and investigations, are considering this deed to be a potential terrorist attack. A special national event, they call it. And as I suspected, the police showed a picture of a man that was interesting to the investigation. They said it was not the suspect, but a man fitting the picture has been arrested in a suburb of Stockholm. He was arrested in a store and behaved in a way that made him interesting to investigate and apprehended. The man was later charged on a likely suspicion of terror crimes through murder. The police have come Saturday morning said that there are indications that it is the driver of the truck, but they do not want to go into details at this point. Several big buildings in Stockholm were evacuated. They're among some skyscrapers and the Mall of Scandinavia. The police have implemented border controls along the Swedish borders. This decision was taken by the National Department of Operations and need to be confirmed by the government, otherwise it will be removed. The police thinks that such a decision will be handed to the police sometime during Saturday evening. The security police have not increased the national threat level. It was on a 3 of 5 scale, which already encompasses the event that happened. The motive behind the attack is not known, says the police. The police is also asking for the public for information and leads. After the fire to the truck had been put out, a homemade bomb was found in the truck. It had not exploded, and the police suspect that it could be the reason for the truck beginning to burn in the first place. Had the bomb gone off, then the casualties would have been a lot higher. The driver was also burned by this bomb, sources within the police say. The man arrested is a 39-year-old Uzbekian citizen. Uzbekistan is between 90 and 96% Muslim, and I will give my thoughts on this at the end of the video too. The police have made several raids throughout Stockholm, and some information points to that another arrest has been made. The police will neither confirm nor deny this. They said that the mission has been going on in several different locations with different measures that cannot be described in details at present. The pedestrian street is more or less still closed off, but some people have been allowed to drop off roses and pay their respects to the people hurt and killed. And as I've recorded some of this on Saturday and some of this on Sunday, the barricades have now been lifted, and the police say that it's now free for everyone to go to the central part of Stockholm where the event took place, and people have left mountains of flowers to honor the dead people. There was also a movement on social media going under the hashtag Open Stockholm, where people have been opening their homes to people who could not get from the central part of Stockholm due to the barricades and the shutdown of the public transportations. The reactions from the rest of the world have been full of condolences and call to stand firm. The French President François Hollande expresses his sympathy and solidarity with the victims' families and all Swedes. The Danish Prime Minister Lars Løkke Rasmussen described the day of Friday the 7th of April as a day of sadness. It hurts all of my heart that our Swedish brothers have been so viciously attacked. It is a cowardly way to try and put us down and destroy our peaceful way of living in Scandinavia. It is a day of sadness, but it's also a day of the will to fight the darkness. His thoughts go to the victims and their loved ones. The European Union and the neighbors also grieve with Sweden. The Finnish Prime Minister Juha Sipilä tweets, "Terrible news from Stockholm. Our thoughts are with our neighbors in Sweden." The Norwegian Prime Minister is shocked by the terrible attack at the heart of Stockholm. "Our brothers are hurt, and we grieve with you today." Jean-Claude Juncker, the chairman of the EU Commission, brings his condolences. An attack on any of our member states is an attack on us all. Stockholm is one of the most vibrant and colorful cities, seems to have been hit by those that want it and all of our way of life harm. The Belgian Prime Minister writes, "A sad day indeed, but we believe in the power of the Swedish people's resistance." Brussels was hit by a terror attack last year, with a total of 32 dead at the Zaventem airport and the Malbec subway. The UN Secretary Antonio Guterres condemns the deed and expresses hope that all the guilty parties will be brought to justice swiftly. Russian Vladimir Putin sends his regards via telegram to the Swedish king. The people of our country knows from own experience the horror of international terrorism. But from parts of Russia there is also critique. A chairman of the government says, "We grieve with Sweden. We have been ready for a joint cooperation, but Sweden hasn't been. This is on the conscience of the members of the government and the parties. They have constantly rejected all proposals of contact." So, what are my thoughts on all of this? Well, let's start with the obvious. The man arrested was a Muslim. The attacks by Muslims in the West have increased a lot with the mass immigration. And just to clarify, because somehow it seems that you have to, I'm not saying that all Muslims are terrorists. I'm not saying that all Muslims want to kill the kafir. But let's look at it this way. You're a devout Muslim. You come from a place where everything in life is directed by the Quran, Sunnah, and the Surahs. Everyone follows the word of Allah. Imagine coming from that to a place where almost everything goes against the word of Allah. Drinking, scantily clad women, smoking, drugs, pig's meat, dogs, and so on. It would be like someone from the 17th century was transported to our time. At that time, a woman showing her ankles was deemed lewd. They would lose their shit seeing all the skimpy clothes. Now, this is not an excuse for these evil, vile, and repulsive people, but it kind of gets you into their mindset. Now, how do we combat this then? Well, the only people who can do something about this are the Muslims themselves. They need to condemn all kinds of terrorist attacks. They must also work to reform Islam, preferably around the world, but at least in the West. There are no ifs, ands, or buts about this. Their kids cannot be raised with traditional Muslim teachings, since they don't live in a traditional Muslim country. There will be plenty of things that don't fit into the dogmatic interpretation of Islam when living in the West. So they are the ones that need to adopt the social justice creeds, I guess. Inclusiveness, openness, equality, and all of that. So we need an Islam plus, I think. There it would actually be a good thing. Because what's happening is that more and more Westerners are being more or less forced into taking anti-Muslim standpoints. People that have lost their families, that have been hurt, and so on. If these people are not given something that will show them that their lives and health are cared for and secured by the government, then they will move more and more to the right. And what will happen if a truly fascist, racist party come to power? The deportation of all Muslims for a start, and that's on a good day. It could possibly lead to even killing Muslims. This is not a world I want to be a part of. And it will fuel more and more hatred and spark wars, even more than we have today. So I ask all Muslims to think of this. If you want to live in the West, you will need to work with the people in the West and not the maniacs that want to kill Kafir and get into heaven as martyrs. I know there are good people in the Muslim community, and it's up to you to make the change. There are plenty of Westerners who would have your back in this endeavor to reform Islam. This needs to be done before things get even shittier than they already are. Hashtag reform Islam. But yeah, that's it for today, guys. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.
May the facts be with you, always.